Hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Sip. My name is Oliver and my mission is to bring you closer to organic Japanese green tea, and today I'm gonna give you a small trick to never drink an astringent green tea again. So today we're gonna dive into how can you actually release a little bit the different parts of different kinds of taste profiles of a green tea, and then I'm gonna brew the tea one or the same tea which I brought with me, actually with two different temperatures, one with 60 degrees Celsius, so 140 Fahrenheit, and one with 80 degrees Celsius, so 175 Fahrenheit, so that you really see what is the difference of these two teas, of this tea in brewed in different temperature, and why actually the tea releases different parts of its taste profiles and the different constitutes which are in the tea to the water, which then make it more or even less or non-astringent. So today really a class where you can go and just follow me on this trip to these two brewings, and then see what you actually like better for yourself. Good. What I brought with me today is actually a Shincha. Specifically, it's a Shincha Nuruki. It's from the region of Kagoshima, from the south. This tea is shaded between 5 to 7 days at an elevation grown at an elevation of around 200 meters above sea level. So this tea actually has the tendency to already by its nature be a little bit more astringent. The more you shade the tea, like for example you have a Gyokuro or a long shaded Gabuse Sencha, or you go even into a matcha, the less astringent parts or particles, the so-called catechins, you will have in your tea. And especially the longer you shade the tea, the more you rise the amino acids, and the amino acids are the main reason why the sweetness of the tea is more intense. So when we go into these two different brewings, so we're gonna do it at 60 degrees and at 80 degrees Celsius, 140 and 176 Fahrenheit. So what will happen actually when the tea touches the water? When you go with the 60 degrees, what happens actually that you have a lot of also amino acids in this tea, especially the L-theanine. These tea particles are faster released, especially into colder water, so there's also a cold brew is actually the sweetest form of a tea. But if you go with a hot brew, if you go to 50 or 60 degrees Celsius, then you release much faster and in a much higher quantity the sweet particles, and these are the amino acids in the tea. As soon as you increase the temperature and you go up to 80 degrees, this then provokes that also you lose a little bit of the nutrients around vitamins, you have a little bit of less essential oils, but also a little bit less of amino acids in the water, and you increase the amount of catechins, and catechins are exactly the ones making your tea more bitter. That's why hot tea or hot brewed with boiled water or with 80 degrees is just by its nature more bitter. It is good when you have a flu or anything, then there's a special kind of a recipe where you can brew your tea at a very hot temperature for a longer time. Then you really get also a very bitter tea. And this is then specifically when you're sick. But if you just want to enjoy your tea moment, the best way is to brew at 60 degrees or 50 degrees even, or even do a cold brew, and then you release the lowest amount of the catechins, so your tea will not be bitter. And that's actually already the small trick, and let's hop directly into it. Let's hop and see what we can what we have here as a tea. So these are the two cuses I brought with me. Just fill them with tea. And now we have 60 degree water which I prepared. Pour this into here. Around 150 milliliters. I used 5 grams of tea for this one here. And here we have 80 degrees. Doing exactly the same amount of water. And we're gonna leave them in for 1 minute. You can also leave them in for a longer time. But what will happen as well is that you extract more and more of the catechins, so it will be a stronger tea on the side of astringency. So just leave it in for 1 minute. You can rebrew it and rebrew it. This is much better than just trying to get everything in your first cup. It is just a better way of extracting all the different minerals and all the different parts of the green tea over several steepings, than instead of having just one pot with the green tea inside. That's just how the Japanese do it, and I personally think and I like as well when you can just rebrew the same tea over and over again. So it just gives you every time a new taste experience, and every time you have a new experience in general. Good. So let's leave this in for 15 seconds more, and then we're gonna be fine with these two tea here. So we're gonna first take the 60 degrees as we started with this one here, and then we go for the 80 degrees. So this is number one, and this here number two. So you can already vaguely see that this one here is a little bit more dense. It has a little bit more seems like to have a little bit more of essential oils. It's a little bit cloudier. This one here is a little bit less cloudy. And in terms of color, very, very similar. This one a little bit more in the golden color, this a little bit more in the green. But now I'm curious how the taste is actually different. So number one, 60 degrees, 140 Fahrenheit. So here we have a very round, sweet tea. It's quite smooth in terms of kind of you have a good part of actually the sweet theanine particles in it. You have a sweet corn flavor profile. You have a little bit of a freshness, a little bit of a lemony side of this tea, but it doesn't really go into the strong bitterness or anything. It's really a kind of a flavorful umami, sweet corn note, a little bit of a spinachy side, and then going over into a little bit more of a fresher, a little bit of a minty side even, so you get even a little bit of a peppermint menthol side, which is quite normal for a Shincha. There's always kind of this freshness or this fresher side to a Shincha, which is just related to the fact that already the catechins and they're a little bit higher in this tea, so they freshen up the tea a little bit. But if you brew it at a lower temperature, you don't get out the astringent particles, so it really will stay a tea which is very nice in terms of sweetness, roundness, flavorful, without drifting off into the bitterness or the astringency. Good. Now 80 degrees. It's already a little bit hotter. So here you clearly have, so in the beginning, what is really interesting, it is nice to do green tea at 80 degrees. It's definitely a different flavor profile. Well, here we have a really round, sweet umami, so this savory taste profile going into sweet corn and then giving a little bit of a lemony taste profile. Here you have directly much more of a grassy flavor profile, but you have automatically also much more of an astringent flavor profile. So it's more of a kind of a balance between the astringency and grassiness, or fresh cut grass, you might say. Well, here with the 60 degrees, you can really taste like different flavor profiles, deeper flavor profiles, like kind of is round and more full-bodied, or that the tea seems more round and full-bodied. You have also a little bit of a nuttiness in the tea, so it's quite nice in terms of kind of sweet, round, full flavor profile, where here we got definitely It's much more grassy, much less strong on this, on the savory flavor profile. It goes much more in this fresh, and also on the side it kind of tingles much more due to the astringency. So it is more astringent in tea. It is actually nice in terms of this grassiness and freshness. So it's a little bit more of an energetic and freshening tea. While here you really get a full bodied, you really get a savory and a strong flavored tea. So two completely different teas, but if you want to avoid the astringency, you definitely have to go down. You could even go down to 50 degrees with this one here, or you just do a cold brew. This is absolutely a possibility. So this one here definitely more astringent, but it's still good to drink. If you're not completely avoiding or want to avoid the astringency, then you should definitely not go for 80 degrees. If you don't mind and you want to change up also the taste of your Shincha a little bit, you might definitely go up to 80 degrees. That's absolutely no problem. And as I said before, there are different properties. A little bit more of the catechins, which are a little bit more for the detox, and the amino acids, which are good for the cardiovascular system, and also for the soothing, relaxing kind of mind, calm mind. Alpha brain waves are also linked to the theanine. It doesn't mean that this one doesn't have it in, but here you definitely have a higher amount. And what is also important, the higher you go with the temperature, the less vitamins, all the vitamins will be damaged with the higher temperature. And this is also a big advantage of the lower temperature brewing. So good, this was this here, and I hope you liked it too. Daily sip, first daily sip of this week. So I wish you a great day. See you soon, and bye bye.